if you're recovering from a wrist injury, there's a few basic exercises that you can do. Now you might have to cut some of these exercises out depending on what your injury is, but this is an easy group that you can try to work on. We're gonna use a really nice light weight, so I'm just gonna use a 1 pound weight. You could do it without a weight to begin with if you needed to, and then progressively increase your weight. So the first thing we wanna do is we're gonna have our palm up, resting on the table with a weight in my palm of my hand. I'm just gonna let my wrist drop down, and then I'm just gonna bring that wrist back up. So I'm just flexing that wrist back and forth. If you feel comfortable with it, you can actually let this roll all the way down into your fingers, and then pull up with your fingers, and then pull up with your wrist. And that would be just a regular wrist flexion exercise. The next one you can try is gonna be wrist extension. So we're just gonna turn our palm down. We're gonna put our hand on, with our forearm down onto the tabletop. And we're gonna, again, hold that weight in our wrist, and we're just going to extend it back. So we're just back and forth like that. You can't really extend it down into your fingers here, but you are just going to be turning the wrist towards the ground and then turning the wrist up towards the ceiling. That would be wrist extension. Then we want to work on some motion of the forearm. The forearm should rotate over and back, right? So you should go all the way from palm up to palm down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the weight by the end here. So I'm going to have it sticking up out of my hand. And I'm just going to start with, I'm going to turn my palm up. And then we're going to come back to this neutral where the weight is vertical. Right? So again, I'm going to turn my palm, so palm up, and then come back to this neutral position. So I'm just going to do this quarter turn back and forth. After I'm done with that one, I'm going to try the opposite direction. So I'm going to go to palm down, and then come back up to neutral, and palm down and to neutral. Now we don't want to do these back and forth to the two of them because then we're kind of using momentum. So we do want to separate these into separate exercises. So just palm down and back to neutral. And then the last one we do is we're going to hold the weight in that same position, and we're going to turn our pinky down towards the ground, kind of like we're hitting something with a hammer, and pull that thumb back up towards the ceiling. So we're just going to kind of rotate back and forth like that, moving that hand down towards the ground and up towards the ceiling, keeping that weight in a up and down alignment. So those are 5 wrist exercises you can do. If you're having discomfort with it, try to shorten your motion or lighten the weight, or you might even just do it without weight for beginning, right? Just to get that motion fully. And then as you get stronger with it, you can add a little bit heavier weight. We're thinking higher repetitions as tolerated, but the wrist and the hand can be very sensitive. So definitely pay attention to your pain. You don't want to irritate that area.